I'm so excited for this segment. I've been looking forward to it all week. I'm not kidding. I'm in love with this game. It's Killer Queen Black. And this game is a blast to play. It's a blast to watch, a blast to learn about. So what better than to bring the people that have created this game here to show it to you. So I'm here with Nick and Josh from Bumble Bear Games. And over here I've got Matt from Liquid Bit. And we're going to be talking you guys kind of through what this game is all about.
Yeah, so I'm Matt Tesh. I'm the founder of Liquid Bit, and we're working with Bumble Bear Games to kind of bring Killer Queen to the home market. So I've got Adam Walters and Mike Chorak, two of our lead developers. They're going to start us out in the game, and we're just going to walk you through it.
Yep. Take it away, guys. All right, so there's a lot to see. This game has a lot going on. As we can see, there's 3 paths to victory: military, economic, snail. And also, it's a 4-on-4 game. We've got a blue team, a gold team. Each team has a queen, and there's 3 worker bees. So, Matt, talk a little bit about what we're seeing right now.
Yeah, so right now you're seeing, like you said, 2 4-on-4 teams going at it, trying to get one of those 3 win conditions. And there are different character types. So each team starts with 1 queen. And that queen is very special. She's very agile, she's very vicious, she has a lot of attack moves, but she's also fragile, right? So if one team loses the queen's life 3 times, that's the end of a match in terms of a military victory.
And we can already see that one of the queens, you guys, are these ones with they've got permanent wings, permanent sword, and their life is illustrated by these eggs up in the upper left and right corner. So you can see the blue team's queen already is down to its last life. Gold has 2 lives left.
Right, and that blue team queen has to be super careful now, right? So if she gets killed by the opposing team, that is game over. So, she's kind of just hanging up here, doing her thing, trying to stay out of trouble. But you also see an economic victory happening over here in blue on the left. He's trying to toss it in. You've got a queen ledge guarding, making sure that they don't win with that specific victory condition. So right now it's 2 berries to 2 berries.
Yeah, so you guys pay attention to those berries in those hives, because once those get full, the game is over and that team will win. But there's also one more way we haven't talked about to win. What's happening down at the bottom of the screen?
And it's happening right now.
Oh, there we go.
So that's one of the great things, right? I mean, you have to constantly track these 3 different win conditions, and anything can just jump out and happen. And, you got to make sure that you're tracking the snail, tracking the queen lives, tracking, the economic victories, and making sure that you're working in concert with your team.
Yeah, and so now we saw 1 match, so you guys watching at home, so just kind of start paying attention. Remember that each team has a queen, and that queen has sort of a different responsibility. It's almost like being a quarterback or being a different position than the rest of your players. They've got a lot going on, and these little worker bees, you have unlimited lives as a worker bee, right? So you can kind of do a lot of stuff and not worry too much about dying. Sometimes you sacrifice yourself.
Sometimes you absolutely sacrifice yourself as a worker bee. So right down here we talked about the snail. If somebody's going to get on there and ride the snail to their side, that's one way. But that will also draw a lot of attention down, as they get closer and closer. And some of the snail victories, or at least getting close, will force other victory conditions as you kind of have to pay attention and adapt to what's being played.
This is really cool. This gold team member is riding the snail. So let's see, is the blue team going to notice that? Or are they going to be able to win that way?
They seem to be pretty preoccupied with what's going on up here. They're looking for economic victories.
The gold team's queen is down to no lives.
So there you go, military victory. She was on her last life, responding to the snail. The blue warrior came in and just took her out.
So I think you just mentioned Blue Warrior, so maybe we could talk a little bit. I think I might bring in Josh here to talk a little bit about the weapon types that the worker bees.
Sounds great.
Hey, Morgan, how's it going?
Hey, good. I'm so excited to talk about your game. I love this thing. Yeah, I found that you can take those out. There's a little bit of a lag.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about this game. People watching at home, there's a lot going on, but once you kind of get it, it's so much fun. So what we haven't talked about yet is that the worker bees can get weapons or upgrades. So
that's right.
Talk us through that.
Yeah, so there's a variety of weapons, and they all work differently and have different strategic purposes for getting them. So the first one to start with is the Queen's Stinger, we call it, which is the sword that she starts with. And she's the only character that actually starts with a weapon. And she always has it. She can't lose it. So her attack is very powerful because when she attacks, she lunges horizontally, and it's really fast. It can catch other characters, and using that lunge, she can be faster than the other characters. It also, when she does it, she goes horizontally, so she has a very narrow hitbox because of like her position allows her to, she can fly under other characters or through little gaps in the level design. And she also has a special move that none of the other weapons can do, which is a dive. So if you hit down,
right there in the middle of the screen, you saw that queen kind of boom.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So when she gets that like bright flash, oh yeah, look, there looks like they might be getting a snail victory down in the bottom right-hand corner over here. Okay, so that dive move is really powerful too. You just hit down on the stick, and she'll dive really fast, and it's also an attack.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so we got another economic victory. But I mean, I think that, to me, that shows one of the really exciting aspects of the game when, like, one team is going for econ, the other team is going for snail, and, you know, it's a race to see who gets it first.
Yeah, and you can never really relax because I feel like the minute you're, like, get tunnel vision on one type, then something else, you're like, it happens to me all the time. I'm like,
right.
Barry, 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 and I look down, I'm like, no, the snail.
Yeah, you got to always be watching the whole board. You know, it's everything is always in play.
Yeah, we've got a little result screen here. We're playing best of 5 here on the E3 show floor. So you can see we've got some stats going on here. Kills, deaths, berries, snail. I'm guessing that snail is what, millimeters? I don't know, how far does that snail crawl?
Well, yeah, so that's, I believe that's in pixels. And, yeah, so, I mean, sometimes I can go up really high if the snail is going back and forth. And, you know, it can be very variable.
So in this next match, we're going to look for some of the weapons that the worker bees themselves can get and sort of how they upgrade.
Right.
So,
yeah, and so there's the way that you get a weapon. I think it's maybe worth explaining this first.
Yes,
so if you're
perfect.
So the queen starts with a sword, but everybody else, they have to get it through the gameplay. So the same berries that you've been seeing them bringing back up into their base for an economic victory, those can also be used to get weapons or other power-ups. And you do that by bringing one to one of these gates. And so first of all, you have to have the berry in your hands, and then you just stand in front of it. And it has to be your team's color. And the way that happens is the queens can tag it. See, the blue queen just tagged this top gate here, turning it to their color, so only the blue team can use it.
So as a queen, that's one of your duties is gate management, flipping those gates to your team's color.
Yeah, I think the two most important things I tell a new queen is first, stay alive, because if you die 3 times, you'll lose the game. And second, tag the gates as much as you can. If you can control all 5 gates, it prevents the other team from getting any soldiers out, and so it can be a very powerful position.
Well, we've got a worker here getting the speed
upgrade. So this middle gate, that doesn't give you a weapon, it gives you a speed boost, which that speed can be very powerful. It lasts until you die. So if you get the speed early in the game, and you know, you can have it throughout the entire game if you don't get killed. And it's really useful. Like right now, they're using it so that they can run berries really quickly. But it's also very useful. Like for instance, if you're riding the snail, I think actually they might even have a guy with a speed boost on the snail.
We might be seeing our first snail victory. Oh no!
Oh, there we go again. It was that tight tension between the two. And so that speed, you can, if you're riding the snail, it'll move faster. And then also, if you become a soldier with the speed boost, you'll be a really fast soldier, which is an incredibly powerful position. But it's also a lot of risk. Like if you get killed, you're losing a lot of time that you spent leveling up twice. We
can see a blue worker getting looks like a laser.
Yep. So
laser weapon up there.
Yep. There's the laser rifle. So this is this weapon is
Look at the blue team. They've got all 3 weapons right now.
That's right. Yeah, so yeah, we got a Morningstar at the bottom, a sword on the bottom right, and the laser rifle, where is it? Oh yeah, there it is, right in the center. And they all have very different purposes. So the sword that you see on the right, that one is like a really fast attack. It's really good it's more of a general purpose weapon, and you can use it for really hunting down any other characters. And it also, because it's so fast, you can attack a lot, which can be very useful. The Morningstar, which looks like he may have got killed, right? But so
and that's an important point. Well, I'll let you make your Morningstar point first, but
yeah, sure. So the Morningstar, the way that works is it's like a long-lasting attack. and a large area of effect too. The Morningstar spins around your body in a very, very wide radius and for a long time, but it also has a little bit of a cooldown afterwards. So that is really effective, I find, at killing other workers. Like if you're trying to...
Oh, there we got a Morningstar right now.
Yeah, okay. Cool, yeah, so I'm guessing he's probably
going all out for a military victory right now. They have no berries on the blue team, but they have the queen down to its last life.
Yeah, so we'll probably see them going for as many weapons as possible now.
And I can hear them yelling out, one more berry, one more berry.
And actually, the Morningstar might be really useful here because I find that the Morningstar is good at getting kills on the queen too.
Oh, look at that.
There.
Oh.
Military victory, yeah, wow. And they almost had the econ.
With
yeah.
the last berry in the
Two
hole.
at once. Two at once.
I think a point to make too about getting a weapon as a worker bee is, so it requires a berry, and you take it to a gate, and you get your weapon or your speed boost. But that only lasts until you die.
Right.
So you have to be kind of judicious in what you do once you have it.
That's right, yeah. So yeah, I mean, you have infinite lives, but when you come back, you lose any power-ups that you had. So it's about efficiency. This game is all about efficiency.
Yeah, and if you have a weapon as a worker bee, you can't then decide, oh, I'm going to take some berries to the high. You can't carry berries to the high.
Right. In fact, yeah, sometimes you may be a soldier and you want to be a worker, in which case the only way for that to happen is for the other team to kill you.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll take like a really risky move, try and kill their queen, and if you get a queen kill, that's great. But if the queen kills you, that's not so bad because now you're back to a worker and you can run berries or ride the snail or, you know.
The layers of depth and, you know, I think like hearing you talk about this, there's a lot of, this game is both simple and I think incredibly complex. If you guys are watching this for the first time, you're probably thinking, wow, this looks really finely tuned, finely balanced. And I'd like to bring in Nick and sort of talk about the history of Killer Queen Black, because there was a Killer Queen before Killer Queen Black. So I'd like to bring in Nick to talk about that.
Okay, great, yeah.
Hey.
Hi, Nick.
How's it going, man?
Good. So I'm here with Nick, and he's one of the creators. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the history of Killer Queen Black and also Killer Queen, the arcade game?
Sure. So the Killer Queen started off as a field game with people running around and like foam swords and like real plastic balls.
So like it was like a literal out in the field.
Yeah. Literally people.
It was like berries
sweating.
So the berries must have been like purple balls or something at some point.
Yeah, they were like fun balls. So anyway, we decided to make a digital version, and it became very apparent very quickly that we needed to have dedicated hardware because it was like really hard to run the game and stuff like that. So we built an arcade machine. We thought it was going to be the only one in the universe, but that did not come to pass. So we've built about 100 since then, and they're all over the country. And there's a lot of basic differences between the arcade game and Black. And so that's why we named it a different name, we gave it a different logo, and Black is really built from the ground up to be a console game, whereas arcade is built to be an arcade game.
Yeah, so I'm seeing a lot of, like I have played the arcade game, I'm sure people watching, there's some of you out there that have played the arcade game, and it's awesome, but there's so many little differences. Can you talk about some of those specific differences that are, it took me a while to figure some of them out.
Sure. So the most obvious one is that in the arcade game, it's 5v5, right? So you have 1 queen and 4 workers to start off with. Another big difference is that you don't need to press a button to kill. It's just whoever's on top or behind. Right. And there's only one type of weapon, which is a sword. In the arcade game, the queen only has 1 dive, which is the vertical dive. In the Black game, she also has the horizontal dive. So that's an important difference. But really, I would say the most important difference is like the fact that you only have the sword in the arcade game, and that it's always like the top is the winner, means that the zoning gets really, really different, right? So you're constantly doing this thing called crown scraping, which means you're hanging under a ledge and like just hugging the ledge so you can get the most height out of there.
Because you always need height advantage to it.
Exactly.
In the arcade game.
Exactly. So whereas in Black, because height is not so important, your zoning is very, very different.
So you can almost attack from any angle. It's more about who gets there first.
Exactly.
And a couple other little things I've noticed that I'm excited about.
Sure.
So you can carry the berries back to the high, but now you can actually, because you have a button, as a worker bee in the arcade, you don't have a button. Now you
Yeah.
have a button, so with the bear, you can actually throw it.
Yes.
Which I love, because I've
Yes.
been in situations where somebody's guarding the base, doesn't want me to bring that bear in, and I can lob it.
Yep, yep. And everybody loves it. And we were a little bit freaked out in the beginning. It's like, is this going to be totally unbalanced, whatever? But it actually works out really well.
It's super fun, and the berry's not guaranteed to like stick into the slot. It
No.
can miss. I've had it miss, bounce off the back wall, then fall off the
Yeah,
ledge.
I've seen players lose games because they're trying to throw it in instead of just carrying it in. It's been amazing, yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And so those are some of the big differences. I mean, there's also like the size of the characters is a little bit bigger for the console game because you're not glued up against the screen while you're playing
Right.
it. And I think a really big difference, of course, is that Killer Queen Black is online, whereas Arcade is only local and only in arcades.
Yeah, that's so exciting. I love that this, like, obviously right now we're playing it 4-on-4, local multiplayer, all on the same screen style. But I'd love to hear you talk more about like bringing this game online and the partnership between BumbleBear and Liquidbit. So I'm actually going to hand my mic over to Matt here and bring him in to have you guys chat a little about that.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so you know, it's been a dream come true for Bumble to work with BumbleBear and bring Killer Queen to the home console market. We approached BumbleBear, I don't know, about a year ago, and you know, said, hey, we're huge fans.
Yeah,
we
in
love
August.
this game. We want to talk to you about bringing it to the market. And they were kind of like, well, a lot of people have talked to us about this before, but we're going to entertain the conversation, which was very gracious of you. And we ended up actually showing them a tech demo online from Chicago to New York of a really, really basic prototype of Killer Queen, saying, here's our proof of concept. We think that we can deliver an online player experience, you know, that is going to rival the home local player experience. And what do you think about bringing this just to the world? And
I mean, and that was the big selling point, right? Like the fact that you guys had a tech demo proving that the networking could work, because that was really our greatest fear, that like the networking just was not going to be any good. And the fact that we could play with you guys, like we could be in our office playing you guys in Chicago, it was like, that was the point where we were like, well, we at least need to have a conversation with these guys. So.
no, right. And even through development, it's happened, you know, like how we play test, everything is remote, right? It's all over online. Since we're in Chicago, they're in New York. I mean, but we still act as one company. And I think that the really interesting story here is the fact that we're two small companies. Liquidbit is 3 employees. BumbleBear is...
Me and Josh and a couple of people to do logistics.
But our combined skill sets has really created a product that is greater than the sum of our parts, right? With the design and the artistic direction and the you know, the obviously the Killer Queen expertise that Josh and Nick bring, you know, coupled with our technical experience and the way that we can produce things and really, you know, bring it to the mass market. It's none of us could have done this without each other, and I think that's the really cool story here.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really an amazing journey working with you guys, and like making this happen has been really amazing.
Oh, it's as surreal for us as it really is as fans of the game, and then being at E3 and starting with the conversation and announcing at E3 with Nintendo. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. I mean, this is as cool as it gets.
Right. I mean, like pre-GDC, we were like, maybe we should talk to Nintendo about this or whatever, and we talked to Kirk, and then he was like, oh, I want to show this at E3, and we were like, what? That's like a month and a half away, and we don't even have dev kits, and you know. But Nintendo really helped us out. They really made it happen. And I mean, according to you guys, you got it up and running in 4 hours.
Oh, Nintendo's support for indies has just been absolutely incredible. I mean, yeah, we showed it to Kirk at GDC. He was like, hey, I want to show this at E3. We said, like Nick said, we don't have dev kits. 3 days later, dev kits arrive in our office. 4 hours after that, we had a really rudimentary version running, and about a week and a half later, it was polished enough to show. So, I mean, for all the indie developers out there, you know, Nintendo's embracing us, and it's awesome. The tool sets are great.
That's so great to hear you guys talk about that. We're so excited to have you guys. And, you know, I'm really excited to be able to play this online. And I've been someone who's been evangelizing about this game, even going back to the arcade. So to be able to play this with my friends online is so exciting. And I kind of want to, right now, if you guys are okay, I'm going to bring Josh back in to talk a little bit about something we haven't talked about yet. Hey, Josh.
Hey, what's up, Morgan?
So one thing we haven't really talked about yet Killer Queen Black, I see a gold team and I see a blue team.
Right.
So tell me about the title and what's the black element?
Sure, yeah, it's called Killer Queen Black because at any given time, there is a single black team. And they look really cool. We have not yet revealed what they look like, but they look cool, trust me. And if you beat the black team, you become the black team. And you keep that until somebody else beats you. And also, we plan to be streaming the black team at any given time. So you can go to our Twitch channel or our website and view the black team playing.
So you'll be up playing online, and you might you might run across the black team. There's only one black team.
Right.
If you defeat them, you become the black team.
That is correct.
That.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see how that changes hands and to be able to look at look back at footage someday.
Right.
I hope that maybe I could play that team, and I could go back and find my footage and.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like we'll see a lot. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it'll even be exciting just being able to play against them, right? Like every once in a while, you'll get a match and you get matched up against the black team, and even if they beat you, it'll still be a really exciting moment. And if you beat them, then that's great. You have your moment of glory.
And I feel like those matches, like you might just be like sitting around like, oh, I'm just playing another game, and they're like, oh my God, here they are.
Yep.
So tell me about this game is it's like we said, Bumble Bear, small team, Liquid Bit's a small team. I'm sure I'll see some like hardcore strategies that play online. People are going to learn from each other. What are some of the strategies you might think? Like, what are some of the higher level play that maybe like when you're the queen, like what are you thinking about? Or
when I'm the queen, I'm often thinking about trying to take out the other queen and the soldiers. I find that in this game, unlike the arcade game, the queen is not very effective at taking out the workers. They're very small and hard to get with her attack, and so I'll usually focus on being like very dominant militarily there, and I won't try to use her to, for instance, ledge guard, that's a term that came out of the arcade community called ledge guarding, which is basically hanging out in the base, almost like actually the Gold Queen is doing it right now. So hanging out in the opponent's base, right on the ledge, preventing the workers from getting in. And I think we're going to see some different strategies arise with ledge guarding because with the ability to throw the berries in, it really changes things a lot because you can throw it over the ledge guard's head. But also it allows you to often ledge guard with a worker because sometimes you want to have a worker up there in case there's loose berries that get thrown in there or knocked in there. The worker can just pick them up and throw them out. And so it can be very effective for really any of the types of characters.
That's so cool. I mean, I could probably talk strategy with you all day. It's been so cool to take a look at this game on the show floor. I want to really quick give you each a chance. If any of you guys have any closing thoughts that you feel like didn't get said or you want to share with your community, I'll let you go first.
Sure. Yeah. I just want to say, well, I guess the game is coming out this winter, so we can't wait for people to be able to play it on the Switch. Make sure to go to our website, which is killerqueenblack.com, for more information on the game and more resources for staying in touch.
Sounds great. Nick, Matt, anything from you guys?
Honestly, I'd really like to thank our existing arcade community who's been very supportive of this new Black game and welcome new players.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I want to echo what Nick just said. Thank you to the existing community. We have been looking at the social media. You guys have been supportive. When we get back from E3, we'll be answering as many questions as we possibly can. And thank you for Nintendo for giving us this opportunity, put it on this great platform.
Yeah, thank you guys for being here. Bumble Bear, Liquid Bit, love having you guys. Thank you for showing this game off. Thank you guys for watching Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3. Stay tuned.